This is the Yellow Brick Road remixed.
So I just woke up and I'm getting a download about the Yellow Brick Road and Dorothy and the ruby slippers and like the chosen ones, you know, a lot of, you know, especially the most, you know, innocent ones, you know, really don't understand what this warfare is even all about.
I'm using the Yellow Brick Road as an analogy to describe the spiritual path that we set out upon. Once we outgrow our current environment, we set out on a journey of self-discovery.
It's time you got out of that sandbox and into some new people, new neighborhood. Girl, do you know you're 24 years old and you've never been south of 125th Street?
I can't see how going south of 125th Street ever made anybody's life better.
And you're never going to know unless you try.
You don't understand why people don't like you and why they're trying to destroy you. You don't even know what it's about because you're very humble. And you're not built, you know, like these people who are evil and want to take, you know, from you.
I know getting out in that world ain't easy, leaving Uncle Henry and me. But we'll always be here for you, Dorothy. And whatever your fears are, well, they'll be defeated just by facing up to them. Now, you take that new job and find a place for you and Toto. It's time for you to make a home of your own.
Toto! Oh, Toto! Toto!
As I was, you know, trying to come up with a way to try to explain it, the Dorothy and the ruby slippers and, you know, the Yellow Brick Road was, you know, keeps coming to mind because it is an analogy
For the path that we take spiritually when we are seeking alignment with our higher self. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Even before we awaken and begin to walk the path of spirituality, we are always being watched over by ancestors and angels from the realm of spirit.
What they want from you in this warfare is your gifts, your spiritual gifts, okay? Like the ruby slippers were a gift from Dorothy's her fairy godmother.
Oh, the ruby slippers. What have you done with them? Give them back to me or I'll... It's too late.
And this was, you know, the ruby slippers are indicative of your bloodline, the red bottom shoes, the bloodline. And this is something that cannot be taken away from you.
Now they are, and there they'll stay.
So think about the the evil witch. I think a lot about the Wiz, the black version. So her name was Eveline in the Wiz, the black version of the Wizard of Oz. And she kept, no matter how close she got to Dorothy, she couldn't take those shoes off her feet. Like when she would try to touch the shoes, they would burn her.
That's a good little girl. I knew you'd see reason.
So no matter how bad she wanted those shoes,
Give me back my slippers.
she could not take those shoes from Dorothy. So I want, my chosen ones to understand that no matter how hard these people work and no matter how many flying monkeys.
I'm summoning my flying monkeys!
What is happening?
Don't come any closer! I got a little job for you, Cheetah. Get Dorothy and don't damage those silver slippers!
How many vices that they use to try to take you off of your path, represented by the yellow brick road.
Seems like we're gonna have to find our own yellow brick road. Ease on down. Ease on. Down the road. There it is. Ease on down. Ease on. Down the road. Don't you carry nothing that might be a load. There it is. Dorothy, look! Dorothy! Ta-da! Woo! Come on, Dorothy! Come on! Woo! Come on and ease on down the road. Come on, ease on down the road. Don't you carry nothing that might be a load. Come on, ease on down the road.
Don't you carry nothing that might be a load. So before you enter onto this path, you will be called to, purge and release a lot of things that equate to what I call spiritual gravity. And this may be people, places, or things that, you may have been codependent upon, things that you may have been holding on to in your family. Okay, so you will be relinquishing attachments to other things and, packing light. Okay, like Erykah Badu says, in the Bag Lady, you want to pack light. And so to make the trip easy, it's a lot easier, you're able to ease on down the road when you let go of everything that might be a load. So, just pay attention to everything, not just in movies, but in your own life, because God, using the universe, is always speaking to us. Let's continue. These people don't have the authority or the power to take your gifts. Your gifts is what they want. This is your charisma, your intuition, your connection to the divine.
I'm the only one that knows how to use them. They're no use to you. Give them back to me. Give them back.
Keep tight inside of them. Their magic must be very powerful. Their magic must be very powerful. Their magic must be very powerful, or she wouldn't want them so badly.
Just like the witch tried to convince Dorothy that, she was the only one that could use the gifts, even though they belonged to Dorothy. And she tried to convince Dorothy that her own gifts wouldn't be of any use to her. This is the same tricks that, the powers that be and some of the people in our lives pull on us, is they
try to, you know, downplay who you are and the power that you hold. And then they try to take that power and use it for themselves. All of God's chosen vessels have gifts. There are different administrations of gifts, and all of these gifts are due to
your relationship that you have with that indwelling spirit.
So let's go beyond the Emerald City, shall we? I do want to shortly, you know, go back and do a little short review of, you know, what we've already talked about as far as this representing the solar plexus chakra, which is the color yellow. And this is the energy center that governs our self-esteem, our self-worth, confidence, and all of the things that basically that Dorothy was trying to obtain as she was actually taking this journey deeper within herself. She met her friends, but these were actually aspects of herself that she had yet to integrate. So as she was meeting them on this journey within her own consciousness, she identified initially with them as her friends. Okay. And so along this path, she was being pursued the entire time by this narcissistic witch who basically sent flying monkeys after her, which is, you know, very indicative of what all of the chosen ones encounter as we walk this path. There's always a narcissist and, you know, a bunch of flying monkeys who are, you know, pursuing us and trying to knock us off of the path. Simply because they are pathologically jealous of your calling, of, you know, your gifts, and they want to obtain these gifts represented in the movie by the ruby slippers. You know, they want to obtain these gifts by any means necessary. The gifts that they want from you, again, is your charisma, your wisdom, your connection to the divine, your spiritual gifts, and, you know, that very personal relationship that you have with the Most High. Okay. And so this is, you know, again, these gifts are represented by the ruby slippers in the movie. And once they got to the Emerald City, they were supposed to meet the great and powerful Oz.
Please don't cry anymore. I'll get you into the wizard somehow. Come on. I hadn't had him myself once.
So when they finally got to the Emerald City, they discovered that basically that the great and powerful Oz, okay, was simply a man behind a curtain with a microphone.
Great and powerful. Who are you? Who are you? Step forward. Well,
what do you sniveling dead meats for?
I want you guys to notice how the Wiz, or the Wizard of Oz, has delusions of grandeur, you know, and how he's using fear and intimidation to keep them at bay and to control them, when literally behind the mask, he's simply a coward, okay, keeping them at bay because he is afraid and pretending to be bigger than life because he actually feels small and worthless. This is the mindset of your typical classic textbook narcissist. So essentially, the Wizard of Oz, or the Wiz, is a narc.
wrath of the great and powerful Oz. I said come back tomorrow.
If you are really great and powerful, you'll keep your promises.
Do you presume to criticize the great Oz?
This is the same response that religious narcissists give when you ask a question that they can't answer, because they don't really believe in God. They believe that they are God. And so when you have a question for them that they themselves cannot answer, they tell you that you don't have the right to question God because they don't have the answer that you could only get from God himself.
You ungrateful creatures think yourselves lucky that I'm giving you audience tomorrow instead of 20 years from now. Oh, the great Oz has spoken. Oh, pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. The great Oz has spoken.
Who are you?
Oh, I am the great and powerful Wizard of Oz.
You are? I don't believe you.
No, I'm afraid it's true. There's no other wizard except me. You humbug!
They were highly disappointed, and they initially felt like, we're not going to get, what we came here to get, and that, he was a fraud, and Dorothy didn't think that she was going to get to go home. Okay. And then the fairy godmother came in as they were all wallowing in self-pity, and reminded them of their journey.
I can't come back. I don't know how it works. Goodbye, folks.
Oh, no, I'll never get home.
Stay with us then, Dorothy. We all love you. We don't want you to go.
That's very kind of you. But this could never be like Kansas. Auntie Em must have stopped wondering what happened to me by now. Oh, Scarecrow, what am I going to do?
Look. Here's someone who can help you.
To be helped any longer. You've always had the power to go back to Kansas.
I have.
Then why didn't you tell her before?
Because she wouldn't have believed me. She had to learn it for herself.
What have you learned, Dorothy?
Well, I think that it wasn't enough just to want to see Uncle Henry and Auntie Em. And it's that if I ever go looking for my heart's desire again, I won't look any further than my own backyard. Because if it isn't there, I never really lost it to begin with. Is that right?
That's all it is.
If we know ourselves, we're always home, anywhere.
But that's so easy. I should have thought of it for you. I should have felt it in my heart.
And this is where they all discovered that the qualities that they were trying to get from the great and powerful Oz, that they had been embodying the whole time.
No, she had to find it out for herself.
The lion, he thought that he needed courage. He didn't think that he had any courage, maybe because someone told him that he didn't have any. But the entire time that they were being pursued on the journey, he was the one who protected them. When it came down to Dorothy and her friends being in danger, that lion became his natural self, and he became their protector without even realizing it, okay? The Scarecrow felt like he needed a brain. He didn't think that he was smart because someone had told him that he wasn't smart. But as they were, you know, traveling this path, every time they needed to devise a plan to hide from the witch and her flying monkeys, it was the Scarecrow who devised that plan. So he actually was smart, okay? And every time that Dorothy was getting sad about wanting to go home, the Tin Man, who didn't believe that he had a heart, was the one who was singing her songs, who was cheering her up, and who was restoring her hope and her faith that she would be able to go home. He was the one that was comforting her the whole entire time. So as they were sitting there wallowing in self-pity, the fairy godmother, or Glinda the Good Witch, came to remind them that they all had been embodying the qualities that they thought that they didn't have, and that they didn't need the great and powerful Oz, okay? So this is what we discover once we enter into our own heart centers and we meet the master builder who lives there. We discover that we are meeting with ourselves, and that we didn't need this God or this great and powerful Oz outside of ourselves to provide us with things that only needed to unravel from within ourselves. When she was able to accept these different aspects of herself and integrate them, she was able to turn her back on those friends and then speak with Glinda.
Oh, it's gonna be so hard to say goodbye. I love you all too. Goodbye, Tin Man. Oh, don't cry. You'll rust so dreadfully. Here's your oil can. Goodbye.
Now I know I've got a heart, because it's breaking.
Goodbye, Lion. You know, I know it isn't right, but I'm gonna miss the way you used to holler for help before you found your courage.
I would never have found it if it hadn't been for you.
I think I'll miss you most of all.
Are you ready now?
Yes. Say goodbye, Toto.
Who taught her how to click the heels together 3 times and say that there's no place like home.
Now those magic slippers will take you home in 2 seconds.
She needed to love home, okay, which was again in the heart, okay, in the heart center. And so she wasn't really moving physically, she was moving consciously, okay, through the different levels of her consciousness. So once she integrated these friends, which were aspects of virtues and qualities that she needed to learn about, which we do as we're walking this path, she was able to turn her back. She knew that they were a part of her, that they would always be with her.
If we know ourselves, we're always home, anywhere.
And when she clicked her heels, she was able to tap back into that bloodline and go right back home. And when she woke up, she was in her bed and all of her family was around her.
There's no place like home.
Wake up, honey.
There's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no
Dorothy, dear. It's Aunt Em, darling.
Oh, Annie Em, it's you.
Yes, darling.
Hello there. Anybody home? I just dropped by because I heard the little girl got caught in a big... Well, she seems all right now.
Yeah, she got quite a bump on the head. We kind of thought there for a minute she was going to leave us.
Oh.
But I did leave you, Uncle Henry. That's just the trouble. And I tried to get back for days and days.
There, lie quiet now. You just had a bad dream.
And she recognized those family as some of the people. The Tin Man was like her uncle, and the different people in her family were these people in her that she had met during her trip.
Remember me? Your old pal Hunk?
Me?
Hickory, you couldn't forget my face, could you?
But it wasn't a dream. It was a place. And you, and you, and you, and you were there.
Oh, sure.
But you couldn't have been, could you?
They were there because Dorothy had only entered into her own heart center, and these were the people that she loved. And so this is why they were there, because she held them in her heart.
We dream lots of silly things when we...
No, Aunt Em. This was a real, truly live place. And I remember that some of it wasn't very nice, but most of it was beautiful. But just the same, all I kept saying to everybody was, I want to go home.
So this was basically a whole full circle journey of self-realization. And she recognized, you know, that some of the people around her, like her family, to be, you know, some of the same people that she had encountered on her journey. It was just that she saw them with different eyes now that she had entered into her own heart center. Okay, the Emerald City can be likened to the heart center, the heart chakra, or the kingdom of heaven, or the kingdom of God. Okay, because what she discovered was that there was no great and powerful Oz that lived in the Emerald City, but that once she had entered into the Emerald City, she was already home. She only needed to click her heels and you know, love home. She needed to know that there is no place like home. And so basically, once she entered into her own heart center, she realized that God is not outside of you. There's no great and powerful Oz, but that God is inside of you. And it develops and it shows itself as these different aspects, as your strength, as your wisdom, as your power, as your love. Okay, and when she woke up in this different mindset, in this different level of consciousness, which a lot of us are doing, you know, in these past few weeks, as we are going through a lot of consciousness shifts and shifting from the 3D reality to a 5D reality, which is just a shift in consciousness, which will then shift your perception. So when she returned back home, she saw her family, who she had not appreciated, who she felt had not appreciated her. She saw them in a different light because she had been activated in her heart center, and now she was looking at everything with love. Okay, God is love. And so when this journey to your own heart center is to discover the builder who lives in your heart center, and this is God, and this is love, and it changes who you are once you integrate this love into your being, and you become this God that you were looking for outside of yourself. It's not outside of yourself. It is within you as a seed that needs to unravel once we have begun to pay attention to it, to water it, and to nurture it. Okay? And so the journey of self-realization, again, is to make the self real by first identifying the spirit as the true identity, as the self, and then in allowing ourselves to fully embody that spirit by allowing spirit to take the wheel, not the great and powerful Oz, and not any spirit outside of yourself, but the indwelling spirit within you, okay, which will take you right back home, which is the kingdom of heaven. And then all of these things will be added unto you. The strength, the wisdom, the power, the love will be added unto you once you enter into your own heart. Because home is wherever the heart is.
When I think of home, I think of a place where there's love overflowing. I wish I was home. I wish I was back there with the things I've been knowing. When that makes the tall trees bend into leaning, suddenly the snowflakes that fall have a meaning, sprinkling the scene, makes it all clean. Maybe there's a chance for me to go back now that I have some direction. It would sure be nice to be back home where there's love and affection. And just maybe I can convince time to slow up given me enough time in my life to grow up. Time, be my friend. Let me start again. Suddenly my world's gone and changed its face, but I still know where I'm going. I have had my mind spun around in space, and yet I've watched it growing. And if you're listening, God, please don't make it hard to know if we should believe the things that we see. Tell us, should we run away? Should we try and stay? Or would it be better just to let things be? Living here in this brand new world might be a fantasy, but it taught me to love. So it's real, real to me. And I've learned that we must look inside our hearts to find a world full of love, like yours, like mine, like
And think to yourself, there's no place like home. There's no place like home.
There's no place like home. There's no place like home.